If you want to understand how great minds like Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, the Wright brothers, and some of the renowned scientists were able to develop projects and make discoveries that others who were possibly of the same intellectual ability tried and failed, and how you can use those same principles to your own projects and skill development, regardless of how small or big you think that project is, then you should continue watching this video, because in this video I'm going to share just 3 of the most striking lessons that I got from the book Think Again by Adam Grant. Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now if you are new here, hi, my name is Simon, a medical student at the University of Zambia. If you haven't already, remember to subscribe, like, and also share this video with a couple of friends. The number 1 lesson which I'm going to share from this book is have confidence in your capability to learn and not in your current state of knowledge. And the best introduction to this striking lesson is a quote by Charles Darwin which says, "Ignorance more frequently begets confidence than does knowledge." Now, when you learn just a little bit about something, your confidence basically skyrockets. Now, this is not just common sense. Actually, this is a study which has been carried out and proven, and it's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. Now, the problem with this is that usually your confidence rises above your competence. That is, you have too much confidence as compared to how much knowledge you have. Now, the actual problem here is that when you are in that state, it is very likely that you are unwilling to change your beliefs when you find more information which contradicts what you know. And because you think what you know is enough already, you don't seek more information. Now, the most eye-catching lesson about this is that you can still maintain a very high level of confidence in yourself. Actually, to be specific, the confidence should be in your ability to learn and not necessarily in your current state of knowledge. What this does is it opens you up to learning more even though you are already confident in yourself. The lesson number 2 is learning how to change your mind. And the perfect introduction again to this lesson is a quote by Bernard Shaw, which says, "Progress is impossible without change, and those who cannot change their mind cannot change anything." Now, this is important because having fixed ideas can really stunt your growth in the sense that it does not open you up to better ideas. Actually, the author of this book uses an example of Steve Jobs and Mark Lazaridis. You must know Steve Jobs definitely because of his successful Apple company, and probably might not know Mark Lazaridis. This person is the founder of the BlackBerry, and this book explains perfectly why Steve Jobs was able to establish his company, as in he was able to make sure that his company continues adapting to the industry because he was very much susceptible to learning new things and very much willing to change his mind. Unlike Mike Lazaridis, who was not willing to change his fixed idea, hence the BlackBerry could not adapt, and hence the downfall. Now, to explain this concept again, the author uses 4 symbolic characters. Now, I mean symbolic because they are not literal, to explain some mental habits, or basically mental frames that most of us tend to go in. And the first one is the preacher, the prosecutor, the politician, and the scientist. Now, the preacher, prosecutor, and politician are not necessarily willing to listen to critics or to listen to contradicting ideas, and hence they are not willing to learn new information, although it manifests itself differently. So we go into preacher mode when our sacred beliefs are questioned. Now, that does not sacred beliefs in the literal sense, but usually things that we hold to our hearts and consider those sacred. When those are questioned, even though the questioning, or rather the critique, makes a lot of sense, we are not willing to change them, or in the least to even listen to what the critique is talking about. And we go into prosecutor mode when we recognize that there are some flaws in the arguments of the counterpart, or basically the person who is giving an idea which contradicts ours. So we go into prosecutor mode basically to bring that person down without even understanding where the mistake and the problem might be. So there's no learning experience in that. The basic goal is to bring the other person down. We go into politician mode when we are seeking to win an audience. So basically when there are 2 contradicting ideas, we try to win the audience to agree with ours without even regarding the other. Now, these 3 modes of mental habits, if you can recognize, can be really fixed, and hence they are not willing to listen to anything that contradicts what they have. So basically you are not willing to change your mind, and that can really stunt your growth, and that has brought a lot of people down regardless of them being intellectually brilliant. Now, the scientist mode, which basically more like explains how an actual scientist is supposed to think, is mostly how most of us are supposed to think regardless of what we are doing. So you have a hypothesis which you are testing with evidence, and when presented with a contradicting idea, the frame of mind is how might I be wrong and not why must I be right. So that literally opens you to knowing truth, gaining more knowledge, and knowing your mistakes. Now, as I have continued emphasizing, the scientist mode is not necessarily literally scientist. It is a frame of mind that can be used in all fields. Actually, if you come to think of it, if you're a reader of the Bible, you might even understand that one of the reasons why most people were not able to accept the teachings of Jesus Christ is because they already had a fixed idea of God, of what God really is, because they could not comprehend the fact that Jesus Christ was presenting God to be a just God and a loving God, a judge and a savior. So basically, even in religion, you have to think like a scientist. So the third and the last one is to join the Good Fight Club. Now in this one, we are going to mention two things, which is task conflict and relationship conflict. I had mentioned these in my previous video, which I think you should watch if you haven't watched. It's about the 4 books which I really recommend that you should read in 2023. Joining the Good Fight Club is basically being able to engage in an intense task conflict and not being sucked into a relationship conflict. Now, the way I can define a task conflict is basically an intense intellectual debate where you are exchanging ideas. Basically, you are arguing without getting into a relationship conflict. So a relationship conflict is one where you start attacking the actual person without even trying to understand their point of view. Now, this can be a very difficult skill to master, however, a very important one if you want to succeed, especially if you're working with a couple of other people. Because in a team, there are always going to be disagreements, and usually those disagreements bring out points which, if debated intellectually, can really bring out some better solutions. Actually, this is a skill which was really harnessed well by the Wright brothers, who developed the first plane. The book records that these two guys used to argue a lot. However, their arguments were very much task conflict and were very much intellectual. So they would bring out their views and engage in a very intense debate without really getting emotional. So this is the kind of debate whereby you debate intensely, where people might even think you are arguing. However, at the end of it, or you even go grab dinner together or lunch or something. Now, the main difference between task conflict and relationship conflict is, in task conflict, both of you are on one side but attacking a specific problem. The only difference is both of you are attacking it differently. However, in relationship conflict, both of you are on opposite sides and attacking each other regardless of how much information the other one is presenting. That is just a few of the lessons that I've gotten from this book, Think Again by Adam Grant. However, if you want to get the full lessons from it, I recommend that you read that book, because the book is big, and however, this video is just a couple of minutes, and so I cannot compress all the lessons and all the great examples that the author of this book used to explain how these points are really important, and how they've actually worked in real life for other people to succeed, and how the absence of these same skills have led to the downfall of some other people who are thought to be very brilliant. Alright guys, that's it for today. So again, if you've liked this content, I recommend that you subscribe to my channel, turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss any video that I post. Also, like and share this video with a couple of friends. Alright guys, see you next time.